Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. Did you hear the warning through the music? All right. We had some technical difficulties. We've been shifting around from different bar to different bar, as you can see. So, this nice guy Sam let us in here. I guess they're closed today, or it's still early. So, but I haven't seen him since. I mean, he seems like a nice guy, but he just strikes me as the guy that's always messing with his hair. But he went in his office with that cute little blonde lady, and I've just heard some yelling from now and then. Hopefully, well, you don't think they'll pick that up on the audio when them yelling? Okay, because they're way back there. Anyway, so I signed up for OnlyFans. And there's only one reason why I did that. Is because every time, what happened? The lighting in the room? Anyway. Okay. I signed up for OnlyFans, and the only reason I did is because now when I match with a girl on like a dating site, I need to check to see if she's on there. After all, what is OnlyFans but a list of damaged people you shouldn't date? Anyway. Welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I'm your host, Madman. Doing different location every single show. You can go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. I still have 2 patron packs available. For if you become a patron, I'll ship you out a patron pack. And there's a bunch of stuff in it for you. And believe me, you do not underestimate the power of the Shock Monkey Radio beach towel. You can find it on the Zazzle store if you're looking for that specifically. But of all the merch that I made for this show, the one that most people have asked me about is the beach towel. I don't understand why. I've done t-shirts before. I've given out stickers to people, and they're like, oh, great, stickers. But they ask about the beach towel. You wouldn't believe it. Anyway, so go to patreon.com, Shock Monkey Radio today. Become a patron /Shock Monkey Radio. Or you can send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag Shock Monkey Radio, all one word. Or you can follow me on social media over here. You're really doing yourself a disservice if you're not following me on Twitter, because I am awesome. Anyway, do you think it's a bad habit to flirt with women who you would never date? Do you think that's a bad habit? You got some squeaking?
No, you're knocking.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. It might be a bad habit to flirt with women I'm not attracted to. Because, I mean, there's no nervousness there when you're flirting with women that you're not attracted to. It's women you are attracted to that's where you get nervous about flirting. Do you think it's a bad habit, though? Because it's not like I've ever had a situation where I'm flirting with some girl I'm not attracted to, and she's like, oh, yeah, let's do that. You know? That's never happened. All right? It's almost like I flirt with women I'm not attracted to just to, like, bait them, to see if I can get any woman at all to show any interest in me. Because women, they really don't do that unless you're like the top 10% of men in terms of looks, body, and so forth. They absolutely no effort for any other guy, you know. And the whole reason why a guy like me develops a personality such as it is because, you know, you can't attract women on your looks alone. You got to have some sort of personality and like be likable. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not likable. Anyway, but you know, I really agonize about the flirting. I really agonize about is like girls I think that are in my league and I can get, you know. And so I'm like, should I flirt with her? It's almost like real hot women. You could flirt with them, and you know it's not going to go anywhere. And I've done that, but I don't know. It's still nervous. You're still nervous because what if she bites? I don't know. Maybe it's a self-confidence thing, or I don't know. But it's not like I think it's dangerous. But here's the point. Like, even if a woman does, like, bite that I'm not attracted, I flirt with her, I'm not attracted to her, and she does, like, ooh, well, yeah. Is it then bad for her self-esteem? Like, the whole reason I do that, I think it's okay to flirt with women I'm not attracted to, is that maybe it boosts their self-esteem. It's like, oh, he was sweet. He didn't have to say that about me. Didn't have to flirt with me a little bit. Boost their self-esteem. But if they bite and they're like, oh, yeah, you're cute too, you know, you're like, ooh, yeah, being polite, you know, I would never. And that just destroys the ego completely, right? So, I don't know how right it is to do that. Do you worry about the morality of things you do like this? Am I right by flirting with this chick? Because I also want to keep up my skills, my flirting skills. So it's a perishable skill. All right, let's go to another topic. Start a little late. Sam and that chick, they're yelling again. Is Mike picking it up? No? Man, you're really good at this, dude. Different location every week, and audio quality is like always at a perfect level. You are really good at this.
Honing it in for a while.
And you didn't really have to check any more bags at the airport when you flew in here to Boston. Nope. This is fun. People say that the internet is the new town hall. And I agree to a certain extent. The internet is the new town hall. But I think a better descriptor of what the internet really is the internet is the new dance floor. All right? And I'll tell you why. Go look how many subscribers this channel has. Now go watch any other channel that has some hot chick doing what they call it, face dancing, where they do goofy. Hundreds of thousands more subscribers than me. Why? I don't understand it. You know, I'm trying to say something. I don't know if you find that interesting or not. And statistically speaking, you don't. If you look at the subscriber count, the view count. Statistically, you don't. So the internet is not necessarily the new town hall. It's the new dance floor. And the most important thing about being liked on a dance floor is being hot and dancing well. And I am neither of those things. I am neither of those things. So, of course, nobody wants to watch this. For example, I was watching Tyler Zed. You ever hear of Tyler Zed's education? Like, for example, he's always closer to the camera than I am. I do not like being any closer to the camera than this. I really hate it. I don't want to scare people away from the show. I know what I look like. All right. Tyler Zed, good-looking kid. All right. I understand why you put the camera close to a good-looking guy like that. All right. I keep it further away because I know how ugly I am. All right. I accept it. But the point is, Tyler Zed has way more subscribers than I do because it's a dance floor. And looking good and dancing well is what makes for a good entertainment on the dance floor. All right. Plus, you know, it's a lot of me just sitting here talking. And I'd like to think that you guys are not necessarily sitting here like watching my my show from beginning to end, watching every single thing I say, watching my face yak for an hour. I hope not. If I say something, bring up a topic, bring up a picture or something like that, maybe you'll glance at the screen. But hopefully, I hope this is something you listen to mostly. And I don't know about you, but that's how I watch videos. I'll have like a video playing on my phone while I'm playing video games on my computer or writing or something. It's the new dance floor, and I don't dance. I have 2 left feet, and I'm ugly. So it is what it is, I suppose. But I feel like I have something to say, and I think that's the most important thing I can contribute to the internet. You know what I mean? Because no one wants to see me dancing. You know, it was funny because when I started uploading these videos to Rumble, I started getting a lot of comments from people. Hey, you know, I really like your content. I think you're really good at what you do, and blah, blah, blah. Only I think you could use some music underneath. And it's like, does it occur to you that I want people to listen to what I'm saying and not your stupid tracks? You know what I mean? And I know who it is. It's a bunch of musicians who are trying to get their like product out there, like sell it to me. So I put their music in my video. Grow up. You do your music thing. I'll buy it if I want. I'll do my podcast thing. There's no reason for us to join forces. Unless I got that time machine working and I kidnapped like Freddie Mercury and Brian May and Roger Taylor. And they'll be the house band. Oh, seriously, we'll rearrange the whole studio so that Queen could be my house band. And they get Roger Taylor doing rim shots all the time, every time I make a joke. And I'll do a segue. It's like, hey, I'm going to step outside for a cigarette. Freddie, you fill us in with something. You go, da, 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 da. See, I can't even do it. I can't even do it. I'm not Freddie Mercury. That's why you need a time machine so you can kidnap Freddie Mercury. You see my Got a Band-Aid on my thumb. Cut myself shaving. I'm kidding. It was a pact with the devil. When was the first time you heard Making It Rain? Oh, wait. Yeah, Making It Rain. When was the first time you heard that? Yeah. First time I heard that, I think it was 1997, maybe 98. Make It Rain. And that was in boot camp, when I went to Navy boot camp. And the RDC, Recruit Division Commander, said, you got that? Yeah. Yeah. The RDC, he said, we're going to make it rain. And what they do is they close all the doors, they close all the windows, you push all the racks out to the end, and you start PTing the recruits until water starts dripping from the ceiling, making it rain. And usually it's because you did something, you screwed up on the obstacle course or whatever you did wrong. And it's like you do this 2 or 3 times, or like a really bad cycling, as they called it, or making it rain. A couple times in boot camp. Thank God you don't have to do it. See, this thing they're doing right now, there's like you lay on your bellies and you're swimming. You have to keep your arms and legs going like you're swimming. It's the Navy after all. And it's quite exhausting. Obviously, you're doing other things like that, but they're PTing you. They like turn off all the fans and air conditioning. So just so you're sweating your ass off. So it just starts condensation everywhere until it literally starts dripping from the ceiling. And then you get to stop. Then you wouldn't shower, and then you just go to dinner or something. And that was Making It Rain in boot camp. Then I got out of boot camp and I went and hang out with people, and I was 20 years old, out for a good time, 20, 21 years old, out for a good time. Guys like, hey man, I know this a gentleman's club. Let's go to this gentleman's club and act like gentlemen around beautiful ladies who don't have any clothes on. And we're like, okay, we can go do that. And this guy, and we were riding in this thing called a jam van. It was a big like church van with a jam van because it had the guy had like 3 big books full of CDs and lets whoever wants to pick the music on the way. So we're in this jam van, and this guy says in there, it's like, we're gonna go down to this club and we're gonna make it rain. And I was like, what? No, I don't want to do that down there. We're gonna PT around a bunch of women and naked women until water drips from the ceiling. Don't you think we get arrested doing that? And he's like, no. Making it rain is like throwing money. It's like, oh, I've never heard of that. The only time I ever heard Make It Rain was in boot camp. So I was really confused for like 5 minutes until I had the courage to broach the subject. Because he's like, we're going to go down to this club and make it rain. I'm thinking like, what? I just want to have some beers, and I don't want to work out when I have beer. I'll start puking up beer. Hey man, what do you really mean by making it rain? I'm glad I never have to do either of those things again. All right, this is not a review. This next part, it's not a review, because I don't know if I should review series. But I watched this show, Deadbeat. Sometimes the description will get me. If I get a description of... what am I looking at there?
Oh, that's his sleeve. I tiled the image.
I see. All right. But I read the description of the show, and it's like this unintelligent loser who also sees ghosts, is a medium, and he talks to ghosts. And I was like, okay, good premise. I think that could be rife with comedy. It's listed as comedy. I think, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And it is quite funny, because the guy, he's kind of insensitive, very, very unintelligent, constantly messing up words, which I think is hilarious. But after the course of I think I'm in the beginning of the 3rd season now, and I think I'm done with it. And there's plenty of little jokes to be had, obviously, when it comes to an idiot talking with ghosts. Plus, he's a loser and doesn't know how to make a living. Because in fairness, he is constantly being harassed by ghosts, because once they find out you can see him, they're like, oh, help me out, And he does help people pass in the light. So he's kind of a good pass in the light, so he's kind of a endearing character, because he does help people, even if those people are ghosts that I don't believe in. But I thought it plenty of funny bits, and I really do like the rivalry because there's this pretty blonde lady who is a medium, and she is like a fraud. And he actually can do what she claims she can do. And every now and then he upstages her because he's not a fraud. And so it's this rivalry between him and this fraud. I think that was kind of a brilliant dynamic, the whole Chamomile White and Kevin dynamic, because he's an idiot and he can do it, but she's like good at marketing, and so anyway, it's kind of an interesting thing. But I don't want to rate things like series. I think movies are better, like rating a self-contained movie all on its own. A series is a whole different animal. You know, when like for example, it's like I would rather rate this show by episodes. Rate the episodes, but I'm not going to do that. That's tedious. That's tedious because they're like half-hour shows. They're very short. They're very short, punchy comedy. But it got old after into the third season. Now they got Calpen, and that's the problem with series, is that after a while it's just like you get celebrity cameos, and you know it becomes like a comic book in many ways. Like, oh, how do we keep interest in this? Well, let's throw Spider-Man in there, you know. So it's hard to rate, like, you know, a series, you know, in that regard. And so I don't really want to do like a star rating for stuff like this. Like for example, like I was thinking about this in Game of Thrones. When Game of Thrones, I couldn't rate that series because it was really good for a while, and then it just so it's hard to rate these things. I like rating self-contained stories, movies in particular, because they have a beginning, middle, end. They're acts. They follow story format. Series don't really follow like a story format. You don't really get closure. You don't really get an end. You know, even when they do have an end, it's like Saint Elsewhere. Or it's like Lost, and you're like, everyone's like, WTF? You know what I mean? It's incredibly challenging to write that kind of way and even rate that kind of thing. But if you want some cheap laughs for a little while, I'd say check this out. I'm not going to put any stars to it. All right, let's do an actual movie review of a good movie. EK was excited I was going to talk about this. I thought it was really good. I was like, okay, let's see what Stallone's got. And I was quite impressed. The first like 10 minutes of the movie is almost like an animated story of a much better movie I would like to see. And it starts going over this background about these two kids who were like superpowered kids. And they have terrible origin story, involves a fire and parents dying, and one becomes a good guy called Samaritan, one becomes a bad guy named Nemesis, and all this is subjective, of course, of what good and bad actually means. And they get into a big fight. Nemesis creates this hammer of his hate. It was like, so they actually had superpowers of forging, I guess. And so it's like, this is a very cool story. They have an epic fight, and apparently they both died and disappeared. And the police has all their stuff, you know, all their costumes and their weapons and so forth. And they disappeared. And they were legends, and it happened 15, 20 years ago or something like that. And I was watching that whole intro of like, why am I not watching that movie? What's this movie going to be about? That movie looks awesome. But you start seeing the actual movie, and it's really good, and it makes me want to see that first movie even more. Because it all kind of centers around the perspective of this 13-year-old kid. And I think that's really important when it comes to telling movies about superheroes, because that is the target audience of superheroes. You can say that women are into comic books, are fine. Yes, some of them are. But the target audience of superheroes in particular is 13-year-old boys, because when a 13-year-old boy, especially in the streets of a city, a 13-year-old boy on the streets of a city starts seeing the evil of the world. They start seeing the evil of the world. And they may have their head down in a book drawing Samaritan's logo all over the place and drawing pictures of him and stuff like that. You start seeing the evil of the world, and it's a very natural and good impulse in young boys to say, this stuff is evil. I wish I was strong enough to stop it. And that's why I think it's good to have this 13-year-old boy as part of the movie, because he gets sucked into this gang, working for this bad guy, and in this world, the bad guys are all fanboy about Nemesis, and I bet all the cops are fanboy about Samaritan, and that's the way the world is in many ways. Is there's good and evil people out there, and it's much easier to get caught up in the evil. Much easier to get caught up in the evil. I don't want to spoil the movie because there is a really good twist in it. I don't even want to say any more about that, but the real hero of this movie is the young boy who makes the choice to do the right thing, and I think that's even the point of Stallone's character in this movie, is that every decision we make, we can choose to become a good guy, become a superhero with every decision we make. And that's kind of the point about good and evil, is that the line of between good and evil runs through the center of every human heart. I think that was a Nietzsche quote, maybe. And that's very true. And even the baddest of us can choose to live a good life at any time, and vice versa, And so that's why I get in arguments about role-playing games. That's why I don't like alignments. Someday somebody could snap and become evil, and they could snap again the next day and become good again. That's the nature of morality. It's a daily chore. It's a daily choice to be a superhero. And that's, I don't know, this movie was very inspiring in that way, and I very much liked that aspect of the movie. However, I don't like that there was only two, and then they both disappeared. If I had superpowers, I would not disappear. It's kind of a little bit of kind of a detective story for a little bit for the boy, because he's like, I think that guy's Samaritan. Plus, there's some funny bits, like when he gets hit by the car, and he starts healing, but he starts smoking. He starts getting real hot, and he has to go back into the house because it's like a genetic thing. It's like his genes start healing him, and in the course of that process, he starts getting really hot. So he runs and gets in the cold shower and just steam pouring out of him. And when the kid snuck into the guy's apartment, he found his refrigerator or his freezer is stocked full of ice cream, and he's like, "What the hell?" Then you see Stallone sitting there eating ice cream. It's like, I get really hot when this happens, so I gotta cool myself down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can have some ice cream. It's cute in that way. I don't remember what it was rated. I don't think it's relevant. I think it was about PG-13. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it had a PG-13 feel. But I kind of would have liked more than two superpowered people. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm spoiled by Avengers and stuff like that. But I guess statistically speaking, a genetic anomaly like that would very, very much be contained. Great name for the city. It was like Granite City or something. Anyway, Samaritan 2022, 9 of 13 stars. Yeah, I think I read that there's a Samaritan 2 in the works. And I'm all for that, but is it going to be a prequel? Is it going to be the first story? It should be. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that after I watched the movie. It's like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do this George Lucas Episode 4 stuff? That first movie sounds awesome. You can cast... Are you afraid Stallone's going to die soon? And he's like, well, we got Stallone now. I don't know. He's still kind of barrel-chested, He still looks like a scrapper, I thought it was really good casting. Usually when I see Stallone in a movie, I was like, I don't know if he's Oscar. I don't know if he's right for this role. What was it, Rhinestone Cowboy? Was he in that one? And, but I was like, he fit the role. I thought that was really good casting for Slash Stallone. 9 to 13 stars. Yeah, I want to see that first movie. All right, let's get into the news worth knowing. This story does not get that many stars. This is a 1 of 13 star story. And it's irritating. The story irritates me like you wouldn't believe. because it's all anyone's talking about. And let me put it this way: when you work in the intelligence agencies, when you work in intelligence, this story is so boring. It's like everyday stuff that happens, and it's a simple mistake, and I don't think anyone needs to resign over it anyway. So Atlantic Reporter publishes more text about the attack on Houthi targets. Vice President J.D. Vance says the Atlantic oversold the messages they had, and I think that that's true. The Atlantic published Wednesday what it described as the attack plans at the center of the signal text chain involving the leak of senior officials in the Trump administration. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz have faced calls to resign following revelations that the outlet's editor-in-chief Jerry Goldberg was inadvertently added to a private group chat earlier this month in which Hegseth, Waltz, and Vice President J.D. Vance and other top administration officials reportedly discussed impending airstrikes on Yemen's Houthi rebels. Hegseth has said nobody was texting war plans, and as Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard vowed during a Senate Intelligence Committee hearing Tuesday that there is no classified material in the messages. And it goes through all the messages. And no classified material was released. Okay. I will say this about the Atlantic. You can say what you want about the Atlantic as journalists. I don't think they warned the Houthis. You know what I'm saying? This accident happened. And so the only thing they're capitalizing on is the story itself. It's not like they got the information, they called up the Houthis and like, oh, they're coming, you know. It's not like that happened. And so I think this is all a push. This is all just, it was a mistake at that level. A journalist got added to this text chain and nothing was really given out over it. It's a big nothing burger. It's so boring. I can't believe how much people are talking about this. And the reason why it's so boring is people will, like Ben Shapiro will sit here and read the entire text chain and give you his opinion on every single thing. Like, this is what that means. This is operational security. I know what all that stuff that's in between the lines means. You know what I mean? It's so boring. But everyone's talking about it. And you know what? No one needs to resign over this. It's not like the Houthis have a connection at the Atlantic. I don't know if you know who these Houthis are, but they're not exactly world travelers. You know what I mean? They're pirates. They're pirates. They're pirates. Plus they all use WhatsApp anyway. Let's go to this next story. Greg Abbott says Dems have nothing to sell but hate after party member appeared to mock him being in a wheelchair. Representative Jasmine Crockett referred to Abbott as Governor Hot Wheels. Texas Governor Greg Abbott hit back at a Democratic lawmaker Tuesday who appeared to mock him for being in a wheelchair, saying such remarks will only leave the party in the dust come future elections. It's another day and another disaster by the Democrats. This is Abbott's quote. The reality is they have no vision, no policy. They have nothing to sell but hate, and the Americans are not buying it, Abbott said in an interview on Hannity. Anyway, Representative Jasmine Crockett, the Democrat from Texas, spoke at the Human Rights Campaign dinner in Los Angeles over the weekend, where she referred to the former state attorney general as Governor Hot Wheels. Crockett clarified her comments on post on X, claiming she wasn't thinking about the governor's condition. I was thinking about planes, trains, and automobiles. Yeah, I thought it was a good movie, man. That's a great movie. You're going to bring a great movie like this into this? How dare you? How dare you? I was thinking about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer migrants into communities led by black mayors, deliberately stoking tension and fear among the most vulnerable. Literally, the next line I said was, "It's a hot-ass mess," referencing the terrible policies. At no point did I mention or allude to his condition, she wrote in part. Representative Randy Weber from Texas told Fox Digital he was planning to introduce a censure resolution against the Democratic lawmaker for venomous rhetoric. Abbott was left paralyzed at 26 by a falling tree while jogging. Ugh. I didn't know that. Texas governor touted a state record under his tenure as the opportunity to space exploration and artificial intelligence. Texas ranks number one, the most new economic development projects for 13 years in a row. And he said CEOs who who run businesses have ranked Texas the best state for doing business for 20 years in a row. Crockett has been a vocal critic of the second Trump administration, most notably suggesting last week that Tesla CEO Elon Musk should be taken down. She was elected to Congress in 2022. You know, Greg, I would say just roll with it. I would say start calling yourself Hot Wheels, Governor Hot Wheels.
Own it. That's awesome.
Yeah, own it. I mean, that's like, for example, something obvious is like Snaggletooth. Somebody called me Snaggletooth, and that was my nickname. Okay, I'm Snaggletooth. It's a funny word anyway. And Hot Wheels, I mean, it's funny. Like Jasmine Crockett's rebuttal is like, yeah, I was talking about the Hot Wheels because he was putting migrants into like buses that have wheels. You know, they don't, because they make those Matchbox cars that look like big buses. So it's like a Hot Wheels car, and you're putting people in the Hot Wheels. It's like, no. Nobody's buying that. She is super dumb. Go watch some clips of her. She is super dumb. Plus, she changes her accent depending on who she's talking to. I don't know if you know Democrats do that a lot. We're going to win again in 2024. You've seen it, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
I think that's a people thing, not a Democrat thing.
I do think it's a people thing, but you should, as
affectatious.
Yes, Democrats are very affectatious. I think Republicans stand on their principle. When I hang around with black guys, I still talk like this because I don't want to leave there talking like them. Because it may confuse people, and they'll be like, "You've never talked like that." So I try to keep the way I speak as consistent as possible. I guess I learned that because I lived in the Deep South. I lived in far north. And I mean, when I lived in Georgia, I developed a bit of a drawl. But because of that, I was able to pick up different accents. Picked up a little bit of skill in the matter.
I think that if you ask somebody that speaks Spanish as their native language a question in their native language, they're more likely to give you an honest answer.
Sí. D'accord.
So people that are affectatious, maybe they're just looking for genuine conversation.
Yeah, it's mirroring techniques. Psychotics do it, or sociopaths do it. They mirror your behavior in order to get you to like them for their purposes, so they can manipulate you. It's sociopathy. Okay? So every time you see a white guy with an accent, hey, brother, hey, is that Dr. Pepper? See a white guy talking like that, that's a sociopath. Why does nobody subscribe? Well, it's shit like that, probably. All right, let's go to the next story. Hawley presses FBI to probe alleged Biden-era targeting of Christians. Is that story not in there? Hawley presses FBI. Did I miss one? Chuck Grassley. I skipped one. Yeah, scoop. Top Republican Chuck Grassley. Did you just fart? Oh, phone by vibrating. Okay. Top Republican Chuck Grassley sets prompt hearing on judges blocking Trump. First on Fox, Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, Republican from Iowa, will hold a hearing next week on federal judges' use of nationwide orders to throttle the Trump administration's actions, which will take place back-to-back with an identical hearing in the lower chamber. In an exclusive statement to Fox News Digital, Grassley said district judges' abuse of nationwide injunctions has hobbled the executive branch and raised serious questions regarding the lower court's appropriate jurisdictional realm. God, this is boring stuff, huh? Since the courts, the executive branch, are on an unsustainable collision course, Congress must step in and provide clarity. Our hearings will explore legislative solutions to bring back balance of power back in check. This is true. I don't want to read any more of this because it's legal stuff. And the news is so boring lately. Today, I should say. Today. Yeah, these federal judges, I mentioned it last week, they are way out of line. And I wish the Chief Justice, John Roberts, would get off his ass and start being a judge and start like reining in these federal district judges. Because if anyone's doing something like that, it should be the Supreme Court. And the point is like, I understand if the Supreme Court doesn't want to do things like this to step in Trump's way, but the Supreme Court should stop lower judges from getting in Trump's way. Otherwise, those federal district judges should appeal to the Supreme Court to step into Trump's way. And the judiciary, the judicial branch of government, should step into Trump's way if he starts skirting the law. I absolutely believe in the balance of powers between the three branches of government. All right? Trump is cleaning house out of the executive, which I don't know if you know this, gives him less power, gives that branch less power. How do people not get this? Didn't you study civics in school? It was the subject I was the most bored on, and for some reason I still absorbed it all. That's why most people just like, what news? Don't care. That's why, like, after I start, when the news worth knowing monkey pops up, they stop watching. You think I don't watch? I don't see the stats? God, I'm in a weird asshole mood today. Anyway, let's go to Josh Hawley. He asked the FBI to probe alleged Biden-era targeting of Christians. Senator Josh Hawley asked FBI Director Kash Patel, that poor bastard, his name is Kashyap Patel. That's why everyone says Cash. He probably goes to the news, hey, can you not write my full name? Just use Cash, please. Because, I mean, otherwise, what do? You put the little dollar sign like I do, right next to your name, $ Kashyap. I'm sorry. Making fun of people's names. Anyway. Okay, that was definitely a vibration. Yes. I've never heard somebody fart like that. You're right. You're right. All right, so Josh Hawley asked FBI Director Kash Patel Wednesday to look into alleged Biden-era abuses against Christians, urging Patel in a new letter to crack down on what Missouri Republican described as First Amendment violations he said were carried out under the Biden administration. In the letter, previewed exclusively by Fox News Digital, the Missouri Republican we know he's from Missouri. You don't have to say it twice in 2 paragraphs. Asked Patel to investigate alleged abuses against the pro-life activists and Christians. He also urged Patel to release the April 30th, released by April 30, information compiled. Why don't they ever do 30th? There's all April 30. There's never TH after that anyway. Information compiled by the FBI's Richmond, Virginia field office, that's near us, including a memo labeled certain traditionalist Catholics has potential security risks and address possible violations of the FACE Act, which Hawley said targeted pro-life protesters. I trust that under your leadership, this misconduct will end, but those responsible must be held accountable, Hawley said in a letter. Transparency and accountability will be paramount in restoring Americans' faith in the Bureau. Is that how he talks? I don't know. I only read what he says. I don't listen to him talk. Getting to the bottom of the Biden administration's violations of religious liberty is an excellent place to start. Yeah, this has been going on for a while now. You see, like, worse in like places like Australia and England. Like, I think in England, some lady was just standing outside an abortion clinic, doing what I was just doing, thinking to myself, saying a prayer for all the dead children. And she got arrested because he came up to her and was like, what are you doing? I'm just standing here. You're not praying? Yeah, may have said a small prayer for the children. You're under arrest. Seriously. And this has been going on here in the United States. I've been going after Christians. There's this real hatred of it. Real hatred of it. And it all kind of started under the Obama administration, probably because he's Muslim and gay. Like, really gay. Really, really gay. Anyway, let's go to the 2 lighter stories and then we're out of here. Coffee costs a content creator more than $340. It made me feel overwhelmed. Content creator in England forked out £265, which equates to about $340 in US dollars on one single cup of coffee. Then shared his true feelings about it on social media. Oh, I can't wait to hear this. Carmi Salito, 26, was in London when he stumbled upon a luxury coffee shop, as news agency SWNS reported. Salito expected an expensive cup of coffee, but was stunned when he spotted Japan Typica natural coffee on the menu for a staggering £265, which came out to be $343 and change. Made from Typica beans. Typica? I have no idea. Japanese variety of Arabica. The drink is thought to be one of Britain's most expensive coffee drinks. Shouldn't that be objectively it thought to be, or is the most expensive? Anyway. The Southwest News Service reported. Salito ordered the drink despite the hefty price. Idiot! Why? Why? He said that in the end, he couldn't tell the difference between his expensive brew and his friend's 4-pound, $5.18 iced latte. Really? You don't say. It's just fucking coffee, dude. The waiter was even made a joke, said, make sure you don't mix them up, and started laughing. Made me feel real overwhelmed because I thought, imagine if I accidentally drank the wrong one. Or you could not order an It's coffee. It's coffee. You go down to any store, and like a 7-Eleven. What's it, like $2 for a cup of coffee? You can go to like a grocery store and get it for even cheaper. You know what I'm saying? If you have a coffee pot or a K-cup thing. I don't even drink coffee and I know all this stuff. When you're spending almost $400 for a cup of coffee, there's something wrong with you. It's just like I was saying, was it last week, about the purses. When you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a purse, there's something wrong with you. He goes on to talk about this expensive cup of coffee. And it was $340. And I was like, meh. I think it says in the Bible, a fool and his money are soon parted. I don't know. Maybe I'm filled with righteous fury. That's why I feel I'm a Baratheon. Ours is the fury. Okay, let's happy, funny story. Man is buried in Snickers themed coffin as he wished. I'm nuts. Want to switch to the news? It's a picture of it. I'm nuts. Family fulfills man's wish after he asks for the candy bar branded coffin. Do you suppose you have to write that in your will?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
So it gets taken seriously.
Yeah. This has got to be like the best part of a lawyer's job, is reading those things. That's got to be fun, right? Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it's obviously a sad time, but when you're the deceased, when the departed puts a little joke in there, I think that's very, I don't know, it's considerate of your family. Because you have these conversations. Are we really going to do this? We're going to get a coffin made out of a Snickers bar? It's like, yeah, it's what he wants. Or else we're not getting any money. But it's also a little joke for your family, just have a little fun. Let's read the news story. I'm geeking out about it already. Fun-loving man who once joked about wanting a Snickers-themed coffin got his wish. Paul Broom, 55, of England, was recently laid to rest in his chocolate bar branded box, which he asked for in his will. Okay, so cleared that up. Loved ones said Broom was known for his quick wit and mischievous sense of humor. Sounds like a great guy. I hope someone says that about me when I'm dead. How much would it cost for me to pay you to say something like that after I die? What do you think? What's fair? But you could tell them I bribed you to say it. So, would you think that'd bring the cost down?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, he paid me $20 to say he was very kind and generous, and everyone. Anyway, so here's what I mean. It's like death is a terrible thing. We all have to go through it. So, I mean, why not have some fun with it? So, before his death, Broom often joked about having a Snickers-themed coffin, and a wish his family made sure to fulfill on his final farewell, according to the Southwest News Service. Broom's family wanted to honor his memory in a way that reflected his personality, so they had the coffin that resembled a Snickers bar. How much it cost? Emblazoned on it was the phrase, "I'm nuts," a tribute to Broom's playful nature. Don't write Madman on my coffin, though. Don't do that. You can put the shock monkey sticker on it. Put all the stickers. Yeah, that'd be awesome. You put as many stickers as you want on my coffin. Anyway, you sign it like a cast, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. Paul's family informed us that as one of his life's true characters, his farewell needed to. He was one of life's true characters, and his farewell needed to reflect that. Funeral arranger Ali Lego. Your funeral director. Anyway, told Southwest News Service. His quick wit and sense of humor touched so many people that and the coffin was fitting. His tribute was a tribute to his unique personality. Quick wit and a sense of humor. How much to say that at my funeral?
That I'd do for free.
Okay, thank you. Coffin also featured the Crystal Palace FC logo. He also has a Crystal Palace football club, I guess. Broom was a devoted supporter of the English Soccer Club, amassing a collection of more than 40 shirts and cherishing match days at Selhurst Park with his brothers. As a parting tribute, the funeral procession passed by Broom's favorite cafe in Bognor Regis, forgive me, England. There, friends gathered outside wearing custom tribute t-shirts and clapped as he made his final journey, according to Southwest News Service. Boy, they love saying that. The family received nothing but positive feedback from those who attended, with many commenting how the personal touches made this service a true celebration of Paul's life. It's a privilege to help his family bring his final wishes to life. At the time of his passing, Broom was employed as a care assistant, helping adults with learning disabilities. Shit, this guy sounds a lot more awesome than me. He sounds like a better person than me. You want people crying at your funeral, or do you want them laughing? Like, imagine, like, as you get there, you're arriving at the funeral, and you first see a coffin. People will, like, come into the funeral, the funeral, what's that called? The room, the viewing room? They'd come into the room, and as soon as they see the I'm nuts and the Snickers lettering, everyone comes in, they first see the coffin, and they just double over laughing. You want people laughing at your funeral or crying? Anyway, this is going to be the end of the show. I want to remind you again, go to Patreon, patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today, and you can get a patron pack, only 2 left. People, do not underestimate the power of the Shock Monkey Beach Towel, which you can get on the Zazzle store if you go to zazzle.com/store/shockmonkeyradio, or you can follow the links down in the description below. You can also send me money through Cash App, hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. Follow me on the Twitters, at DNALETSAW. That's the word wasteland spelled backwards on Twitter, at SLRobbins13 on Instagrams, and Shock Monkey Radio or Redux on Facebook. This has been Shock Monkey Radio. I'm the Madman, and I love you.